Good morning, folks. This is Deb Delapiano, and this is your short take. Hold on. Here's to you, folks. Little coffee, little conversation. So, we're not going to talk today about how we're right on the doorstep of fascism. We've seen all of this going on in front of us, and we seem to be preoccupied with other things. I could be wrong, but I think that's a recipe for disaster. But we're going to talk about why the American people don't care enough in a different video. Okay, that'll be maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, but it's coming very soon. But for today, we want to talk about the midterms. Now, I live in America, okay? I've been here all my life. I've lived in the New England area, the Boston area, actually, all of my life. I've been through an awful lot of shit in my life. A lot of it good, some of it not so good. And I was homeless. I lived through 3 or 4 years of that. And let me just tell you right now, there is absolutely not one homeless person who's making money off the system. And we'll talk about that in a separate video too. But I certainly do know that everybody going to the polls, that's an average American. And I mean an average American who's struggling to just put food on the table or make ends meet or pay bills, live a life. I know they're not all Democrats, okay? I know there are poor Republicans out there. I've been through some of the states. I've done a lot of domestic travel for business. I've been through some of the states. I took a train to Louisiana, and I saw the way people were living in some of those states. I remember being in New Orleans on business and taking money out of my pocket and giving it to people on the streets to buy food. And these were people who weren't panhandling and wealthy. These were people who were suffering. And I know down south, especially, they're not all Democrats. So let's talk about the wisdom of you returning the GOP to power. What has the GOP done for the poor white? Let's narrow it down here. Because we know they're not all poor black Republicans either. Okay, what is the GOP done for any poor people in their own party? Now we have Ron Johnson just boldly out there. It's coming out of his own mouth. I'm not making this shit up, folks. Talking about getting rid of Social Security and Medicare because it's socialism. Really, it's socialism. Where did we get the impression that the government of the United States doesn't take care of ordinary people? They certainly don't have any problem serving the wealthy. We pick and choose our millionaires to like and dislike. We don't like Bill Gates because he invested money in the pharmaceutical industry and in vaccines in the middle of a pandemic. But we love us some Elon Musk, who is the biggest fucking opportunist that ever walked the planet. And he has nothing in common with freedom. Because if you're partnering up with the likes of Kanye West and the Republican Party, they are not about freedom, no matter what they're fucking telling you. The Republican Party has not done one thing for the average American that I can find anything substantive in even the last 20 fucking years. They have passed plenty of bills to give tax breaks to the wealthy. Donald Trump increased the fucking debt by trillions of dollars doing that when he was in office. That's a matter of public record. I'm not making it up. But yet we have the same Republicans who back that bullshit complaining about forgiving student debt. And in the meantime, all of these people, a lot of these people, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, they all got PPP loans because of COVID to run whatever shady businesses they're running. And then they all got those loans forgiven. We walk around and we talk about Joe Biden not being mentally acute enough to run the country. He's gotten more shit done in the last 2 years than any president before him. There are people who came before him that were considered good Democratic presidents would like to have this guy's record in the face of all of the opposition he has gotten from the GOP has helped not one iota. They did not even vote for you, my friends, on Biden's COVID relief program. They did not vote for veterans. I know some of the veterans I see on the streets are not Democrats. Just because you have an R next to your name doesn't mean you have to vote that way. These people are no good. The Republican Party, as it exists right now, is useless to the American people. Right? We talk about John Fetterman's fitness to run for office because he had a stroke. Does anybody remember that the government covered up for Ronald Reagan's fucking Alzheimer's disease and John Kennedy's Addison's disease? John Fetterman's not covering anything up. He wants to debate. He just has to have closed captioning right now while he's in recovery. But you know what? He has been functioning in office post-stroke just fine. There's nothing wrong with him. We worry about his fitness for duty, but we don't worry about this guy's fitness for duty. Ronny Jackson, a report by the Inspector General, not a Democrat, by the way, a report by the Inspector General reporting that the former top physician, who is now a member of Congress, made inappropriate sexual comments, bullied subordinates, and got drunk on several presidential trips. He also handed out opioids like they were going out of style. But we don't worry about Ronny Jackson's fitness for duty. We worry about John Fetterman's fitness for duty. We don't worry about the fact that Dr. Oz is a pill-pushing, supplement-lying opportunist who made more money peddling supplements that have absolutely no historical or scientific background behind them that prove that they do anything. I get a fucking email from Dr. Oz every week about a new fat-killing pill. We don't worry about him and his fitness for duty. A man who doesn't even live in Pennsylvania, who owns 14 properties, gets tax breaks like they're going out of style, and we're worried about John Fetterman. Folks, I got to tell you something. You're all a little bit misguided here. You're all a little bit misguided. The GOP does nothing for the average citizen, regardless of whether you're Democrat or Republican. The shit that they vote on every day, that they refuse to sign, that they refuse to buy into, the infrastructure bill, which they call socialism. I'd like to know where the fuck you think highways come from. The people should go out and start building them when they start breaking down. It isn't socialism, asshole. It's what you do with your tax money. All of these people decried the infrastructure bill, and now they're all writing Biden private letters asking for some money to do some work in their own districts. It's funny how it's not socialism when they come begging at election time so they can look good to their constituents. Wake up. This isn't the time to elect the GOP. They're a bunch of fascists, and we're going to keep talking about this until my eyes bleed. I'll talk to you guys later. We're going to talk about other topics. I have references for this because this will be up on YouTube. You guys need to follow our YouTube channel if you're on TikTok, where you can't get a lot of content beyond 10 minutes. So I will talk to you all again tomorrow.